questions, okay? But I'm super blessed and grateful to have an opportunity to get on and share something that I truly believe can make a very powerful impact in your life. So thank you guys for hopping on. I really do appreciate you. Um, and if there's anything that I can do to help you, please let me know. Okay. You're a Millionaire is viewing the product. I appreciate that. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I've put in here the promo code for the Feel Great system so that if you have a desire to get it, it comes with free shipping. It's discounted. The promo code gives you 25% off. But let me start with a question. Okay. I always like to start with a question. So I want honesty in the chat. Okay. I want you to think about your health as I talk about these things. Okay. Do you feel tired after you eat? How many of you wake up exhausted after you've just slept for 7 or 8 hours, right? Do you wake up exhausted even after sleeping? Do you struggle with cravings? Do you struggle with stubborn weight or blood sugar or blood pressure? What about cholesterol or inflammation or brain fog? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, how many people are affected by these health issues? I live here in Phoenix, Arizona. I never knew what insulin resistance was. Nobody talks about it. You know, I'm somebody that donated a kidney to my sister's husband, and 7 years later, I was told that I had stage 4 kidney disease. And ladies and gentlemen, I was told that if I didn't lose weight, if I didn't change my diet, that I was going to end up on dialysis. This scared me because I've always been healthy. And when I was told that my one kidney was failing, this was my wake-up call. So many people are affected by insulin resistance, and most people don't even know that they have it. And I think, if anything, this is kind of what scares me the most, is that people have these health issues and they don't even know that they have it. And at the end of the day, folks, my goal is to help share information that can literally change your life. And if you're somebody who's been struggling with your health, what I'm going to share with you could make the biggest impact. It could be an absolute game changer. Okay? This is something that affects so many people. And again, most people have no idea that they even have it. What I'm talking about affects more than 90% of the American population. There are so many people that are dealing with diabetes, blood pressure issues, cholesterol issues, weight issues. And far too often, all we are doing is throwing medications at our symptoms without ever fixing the root cause. This is frustrating because at the end of the day, I want you guys to understand that you can improve and fix your health without the need for meds or diets. So what I'm talking about affects 93% of people. It's called insulin resistance. Before I go any further though, okay, if you wouldn't mind, drop where you are watching from, okay? I'm always curious where people are located, okay? I'm always curious where people are located. And if what I share with you resonates with you, I hope and pray that what I share makes a difference in your life. So if you're just joining, okay, we are talking about insulin resistance and why it is the real root cause behind your weight gain, behind heart disease, behind diabetes. It's behind being tired all the time. And what I'm going to teach you is how to fix it. Okay. Jeff says, Iowa, love it. 3 Terry Boys, Texas, love it. Okay. Thank you so much for being on tonight. And if you're not already following me, please hit the follow button. And if you wouldn't mind, please tap the screen a few times, because when you do that, you're letting TikTok know that this message matters. Folks, if you have a loved one that you care about that is struggling with their health, whether it's skin issues, weight issues, diabetes, heart disease, kidney disease, liver disease, Okay, it is caused by insulin resistance. And this is what I teach people how to do every single day, is how to fix it without the need for meds or diets. And so if you're just joining, that's what we're talking about. It's the number one thing that's causing all of these health issues in people. And I'm going to teach you how to fix it naturally without extreme dieting, without feeling like you have to starve yourself for a week, and without feeling like you have to guess all the time. Okay? And if this resonates with you, feel free to ask me any questions. My goal is to help make a difference. Now, let me slow this down and explain insulin resistance in a way that actually makes sense. Insulin is a hormone, okay? And its job is to move sugar from your bloodstream into your cells so that you can use it for energy. And here's what happens. When you and I eat food, your blood sugar goes up and your body releases insulin to bring your blood sugar back down. The problem is that you and I are eating literally all day long. And so our insulin is elevated throughout the day, which is why we develop all of these health issues. And then when we go to a doctor, instead of teaching us how to lower it naturally, we're prescribed medications. But that's what happens. Every time you eat, your insulin goes up, and that's normal. The problem is that we eat all day long. We snack constantly, right? We're drinking soda all day or energy drinks or coffee, right? And I get it, right? I've been there, right? How many of us are sleeping poorly? And over time, what happens is that our cells stop responding to insulin in the way that it should. Remember, when we eat, your blood sugar goes up. Insulin is released to bring this back down. But if we're eating all the time, your insulin is constantly going to be high. Okay, I want you to think of insulin resistance like a fire that is burning out of control in your body. Okay, just like smoke signals that there is a fire. Okay, all of these symptoms that you and I have. Okay, I want to put this in the chat because I think this will help you to understand, right? Look at this. Okay, look at this list. This is a really good list of symptoms that I know a lot of us have, right? Diabetes, okay, obesity, high blood sugar, metabolic syndrome, PCOS, heart disease, Alzheimer's disease, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, skin tags, depression, all of these things. How many of you are struggling with any one of these? And how many family members or friends or colleagues or people that you love and care about are affected by these health issues? Now, why am I putting this in here? And the reason why, folks, is because of this, right? This is the root of today's health struggles. 93% of people, ladies and gentlemen, have what is called insulin resistance. You notice how the Bible says that no good tree bears bad fruit. Well, look at the fruit, right? The fruit of the tree is cholesterol, it's high blood pressure, it's PCOS, it's diabetes, it's cancer, it's all of these things that we're all struggling with. And the sad part about the fact that so many people are affected by these issues is that we're never focused on trying to fix the root cause. We're so focused on treating the symptoms. "93% of people are affected by these issues. This is the root of all of our problems today. And far too often, all we're doing is we're throwing medications at our symptoms, but it doesn't fix the root cause. We've got to address the root cause if we really want to improve our health. And so here's the reality. In King Shady, let me know if you have any questions in regards to what you're looking at. But how many of us were told to eat 3 times a day, right? We were told to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we were told to snack throughout the day, right? How many of you were given the advice that you were supposed to eat within 30 minutes of waking up if you were trying to lose weight? How many of us have been told to eat smaller meals throughout the day to keep your metabolism high? That advice that we were given back in the 90s is why 93% of Americans are metabolically unhealthy. And this is what we call the SAD diet, right? It's the standard American diet. And so what happens, folks, if you and I are eating literally all day long, that fire is just burning out of control. In fact, what you're doing is you're actually throwing more fuel on the fire. And every time we eat, your blood sugar goes up, insulin's released, and your body produces more and more insulin to move the same amount of glucose. And this is what puts people at a much greater risk for health issues. That constant insulin is what drives the fat storage. It's what drives your body turning off the switch to burning your fat, right? How many of us have cravings, right? How many of us have energy crashes? How many of us have raised blood pressure or cholesterol issues, right? Inflames the body. It's damaging the blood vessels. And eventually what all of this leads to is type 2 diabetes and heart disease. If this is clicking for you, put a number 1 in the chat. Okay, if you are diabetic, would you mind putting the number 2 in the chat? It lets me know how many people that are watching this are affected by diabetes. Folks, most people have no idea that they have insulin resistance, but it affects the majority of us. Most of you that are watching this right now have no clue that you even have insulin resistance because nobody talks about it. And by the way, if you happen to have a doctor that is talking to you about insulin resistance, hold on to them. Because the sad reality is that most doctors and most medical professionals are not talking about the one thing that causes most of our health issues, right? They're not talking about it. And why would they? Okay, why would they? You know, I wish I knew what insulin resistance was. My dad passed away on Easter Sunday, 2017. My brother was 33 years old when he unfortunately took his own life. And my mom is struggling with her health. My twin sister struggled with her health. I mean, it almost seems that everybody that I know and have been in contact with is affected by insulin resistance. And folks, you might feel like you're healthy, and that's the problem with insulin resistance. Because you feel fine, right? You probably don't have the symptoms. You probably don't feel anything. It's the silent destroyer. Most people don't even know that they have it until it's too late. And here's what's crazy is that you could have high insulin for 10 to 20 years, right? You could have insulin resistance for 10 to 20 years before it leads to a diabetes diagnosis. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are diabetic, do you guys realize that your risk goes up by 80%, meaning you're 80% more likely to develop cardiovascular disease, having a heart attack or stroke? You're 81% more likely to have Alzheimer's or dementia? You know, and like I said, far too often, all we're doing is throwing medications at our symptoms, but that doesn't fix the root cause. And this is not about willpower. This is not about calories. This is not even about being lazy. You cannot out-exercise insulin resistance. You could work out 23 hours a day. You're still not going to out-exercise insulin resistance. You can't starve it away. That is why people say, I eat less than my spouse and I'm still gaining weight. Or I work out all the time, but nothing changes. You know, I followed the rules. I was tired. I had weight that I couldn't lose. I had migraines for 23 years. I had acid reflux. I had brain fog. I had anxiety and depression. And I had stage 4 kidney disease 7 years after donating a kidney to my sister's husband, my brother-in-law. Folks, I had all of these issues. And Roshni, absolutely. I know some people that just take one a day, right? That's all they can handle. I have 2 to 3 a day. And for me, I have a fiber, the balance. I have a fiber literally before every single one of my meals because I just love what it does. I know that when I have the Feel Great system before I eat food, right, when I have this fiber, it literally just it slows the digestion down. It helps me to get the fiber that I know that I need, especially because of the foods that I eat, right? I haven't changed my diet. Folks, I want you guys to understand that your body is not broken. Okay? Your body is actually responding exactly how it was trained to respond. The problem isn't you. The problem has everything to do with insulin. And if any of you are just joining, right, you just jumped onto this live, welcome, okay? I'm talking about insulin resistance and why most people are fighting their body instead of working with it, right? Insulin resistance wreaks havoc, okay? What if you have Golfer Joe? I love your handle, by the way. There's lots of good golfing places here in Arizona. What if you have high blood pressure, right? Well, the key here is to get your blood pressure under control. You know what's crazy is that if you go to a doctor because your blood pressure or your cholesterol is high, what does your doctor want to put you on? They usually want to put you on a statin. Now, let me say something important, okay? For decades, we were told to eat low fat. In fact, we were told to avoid fats. We were told that fats were bad. We were told to eat 6 meals a day. We were told to snack constantly throughout the day. And we were told to focus on the calories, right? How many of us have been told to move more and eat less, right? They call this the calories in, the calories out approach. When insulin stays high, fat burning is turned off. See, your body cannot access your stored energy when insulin's way up here. What we've got to do is we've got to lower. When we lower insulin, the fat's got to go. Your body literally will start burning your stored fat. And here's the wonderful thing about what it is that I teach. I teach the Feel Great system. Folks, if you don't have any weight to lose, your body is not going to lose more weight. Your body is going to heal where it needs to heal. And that's what's so great about this. How many of you folks eat a meal and 30 minutes later, you're already thinking about your next snack or your next meal, right? How many of you feel hungry even when you've already had food? You've got plenty of fat on your body, right? This is why cravings feel uncontrollable sometimes. It comes down to your hormones. Has nothing to do with your character flaw. Now here's the good news. When your insulin levels come down in your body, everything changes. Your fat burning turns back on. Hunger drops. Cravings actually calm down. Your energy stabilizes, right? It comes back up. Your inflammation comes down. It starts to improve. Your blood sugar improves. Your blood pressure improves. Cholesterol improves, right? And this is not a trend. This is basic biology that happens in your body. When insulin levels come down, everything changes inside of your body. And there are proven ways to lower insulin naturally, which is exactly why I teach the Feel Great system. You stop eating all day long. You give your body a break from insulin, right? That's key. You eat fiber before you eat food or with your food. And when that happens, it helps to slow the glucose from getting into your bloodstream. Right? You support your metabolism so that your body can actually access your stored energy. And when these things are done consistently, your body actually responds really fast. Now, this is exactly why the Feel Great system works. And some of you might be asking, well, what is the Feel Great system? Okay. And I have it listed right here. The Feel Great system is one of the most amazing tools that I have ever come across. This is safe. It is the easiest thing. that you'll ever come across that will help you to reverse insulin resistance. It is natural. There's no side effects. There are zero contraindications. And I think that the one thing that I love the most is this is just as effective and often works better than the medications that doctors prescribe. How many of you, and if you don't mind, letting me know if you're on a medication, would you mind putting the number 1 in the chat? Let me know if you're on a medication. And by the way, what I'm sipping on right now is the Unimate. It's the chlorogenic tea that has yerba mate. It's absolutely amazing. This tea is unlike any tea. It's amazing. I'm not even a tea drinker. I don't like tea. But this yerba mate, this chlorogenic acid tea, it's amazing. Folks, when I donated my kidney and my nephrologist told me, Troy, you need to lose some weight, you need to change your diet, and if you don't, you're going to end up on dialysis, this was my wake-up call. Now, how many of you are on something called Ozempic, right? My doctor actually prescribed Ozempic. It made me sick. I literally had to stop taking it because it was making me sick. Every time I would take it, I would be out for 2 days. So I had to stop taking it. I didn't like it. And I want you to understand something about the Feel Great system. And some of you are starting to hear about this because everybody's talking about it. And maybe some of you are like, why are so many people talking about a nutraceutical, right? This Feel Great system. And it's not just a supplement. It is a metabolic reset protocol. It focuses on timing and fiber and metabolic support. What it does is it detoxes your liver. It helps to improve insulin sensitivity. It nourishes your microbiome, which, by the way, is where 80% of your immune system is. And when you start to improve your metabolic health, folks, everything shifts, everything changes. I love talking about this because, you know, most people around me are on a bunch of medications. I'm not a fan of meds. I will not get on meds. I love what this has done. I've been using this for 2 years. I will never stop using this. It has literally saved my life and changed it in ways that medications and diets would never have been able to do. And this is why I get on here. And for those of you that are just joining this live, okay, I want to welcome you to this live. If you're not already following me, I hope that you will. But what I'm talking about is insulin resistance, diabetes, heart disease, cardiovascular disease, and metabolic health. And I want to just talk for a second in regards to diabetes for a moment. Type 2 diabetes is not a blood sugar disease. It is an insulin disease. Blood sugar rises because insulin is no longer working properly. You guys understand that every time we eat, your blood sugar goes up. Your insulin is released to bring the blood sugar back down. But when we're eating all day long, we're snacking all day long, our insulin is constantly high. And your body just continues to pump out more and more insulin just to try and move the same amount of glucose. And folks, this is what puts everyone at a much greater risk for health issues. This is also one of the reasons why medications that only chase blood sugar without fixing insulin resistance often fails long term. And the reason for that is because the root cause isn't being discussed. It's not being talked about. And folks, what you're clicking on here, the Feel Great system, it is a yerba mate tea. It is loaded with theobromine and chlorogenic acid. Okay. You have 2 of these a day. You have 1 of these a day. This fiber, by the way, was created by Rexall drugs. Some of you might remember Rexall. Rexall actually used to be the biggest drugstore in the world. Right? Michelle K., you have Rexall or you have the Feel Great system. But Rexall started in 1903. And back in the late 1980s, 1990s, the doctors and scientists of Rexall drugs created this blend of plant-based fibers. And they did this because they wanted to put fiber back in our food. You guys realize, okay, hold on a second. You guys realize that our food industry has stripped out fiber out of our food. We need fiber. We are getting about less than half of what we need each day. And so the scientists of Rexall created this blend of fiber. It's got a blend of 7 soluble and insoluble fibers. And when those come together, it creates a strong barrier. Okay, it helps to prevent glucose spikes and insulin spikes. It helps to keep those down. If your goal is to improve your blood pressure and your cholesterol without the need of statins or other medications, fiber's key because it helps to slow down your digestion. It allows your gut to get the nutrients that it needs, right? It helps to lower the protective cholesterol. Okay, folks, medications are not intended to fix the root cause. They treat the symptoms and that is it. Now, let's talk real briefly about cardiovascular disease, right? High insulin will eventually damage your blood vessels over time. It increases inflammation. It raises your triglycerides. It accelerates the plaque buildup in your arteries. This is why insulin resistance happens to be one of the strongest predictors of heart attacks and strokes. And when you lower insulin, which is what this is exactly what the Feel Great system does, is it helps to lower this, okay? When you lower insulin, you improve your vascular health. You improve your heart health. Metabolic happens to be heart health. And if you're just joining, we are talking about the root cause of most chronic diseases. You know, if you want to make a big impact in business or in life, you've got to be able to solve a major problem. And Plaid Shorts, thank you for your one. Right? If we want to make a big impact, if we want to solve a big problem, right, and make a difference, we've got to be able to find a solution to a big problem. Folks, we have a solution to insulin resistance, and hardly anybody knows about it. Now, I know some of you might be like, oh, this guy's just trying to sell some other supplement. You don't understand the power of the Feel Great system. This fiber is the only clinically proven natural and patented natural alternative to statin drugs. How many of you are on a statin? There's over 1 billion people globally that are on a statin. And this actually does the same thing without any side effects. It helps to lower it. How many of you are diabetic who's on metformin? How many of you are, on these GLP-1 medications? You guys realize that what I'm sipping on, right, this chlorogenic tea, is a natural metformin. It's a natural Ozempic, tirzepatide, whatever it might is that you're using. What I love about the Feel Great system is it literally tackles the root cause of insulin resistance. Now, when you guys go to your doctor, here's the part that no one wants to tell you. If I have IBS and migraines and cholesterol issues, and I go to my doctor, okay? And let's say that I go to 3 different doctors, and Bacon, thank you so much for the follow. If I go to 3 different doctors, not only am I going to pay 3 different copays, because you have to pay a copay to every doctor you go to, but I'm walking out with at least 3 different medications, and not one of those even touches the real root cause of your health issues. All they're doing is managing the numbers, the symptoms. But the moment you come off these meds, what do you think happens? In Jersey Devil, thank you for the follow. Folks, how many of you love being on a diet? And how many of you have ever started a diet and then quit 2 weeks later and then gained all that weight back? How many of you have gotten on medications and then, these medications start to lose their effectiveness after about a year or 2 years? And so you stop taking it. And what happens to your symptoms? They come back. Now, I want to address a few concerns that people have silently. Some people think that I cannot fast, right? You can. You're not fasting forever. We might encourage you to skip maybe 1 meal a day. If you want honesty, your body does not need 3 meals a day, and we don't certainly need to snack 2 to 3 times a day. Your body actually runs really well on 1 to 2 meals a day, if that. And by the way, when you're skipping a meal or going longer periods between your meals, you are simply giving insulin a break. If you have skin issues like skin tags, psoriasis, eczema, if any of you watching have an autoimmune issue like lupus or rheumatoid arthritis or Hashimoto's or Crohn's disease, okay? If you have diabetes and heart disease and PCOS and erectile dysfunction, neuropathy, retinopathy, gout, GERD, vertigo, IBS, do you guys realize that every single symptom that I just mentioned is all caused by one thing? And yet when you go to a doctor, if you had 10 of those symptoms, your doctor is sending you home with at least 10 different medications and maybe an 11th med, because now you've got a side effect to another medication. Here's what I teach people every day. Fasting is step 1. Step 2, fiber. Step 3, making sure that you have the right tools. When you go longer periods of time, and maybe you condense your eating window, what you are doing is you are simply giving insulin a break. I've had a few people over the last couple of years that have said, fiber bothers my stomach. Well, folks, when you go through a detox, right, fiber is one of those things that actually protects us. It helps to lower your blood pressure. It helps to lower your cholesterol. And we are getting hardly any fiber in our diet. And there's a reason for that. And Vuchop, thank you for the follow. You guys realize that if you and I are eating a lot of food that has had fiber stripped from it, you and I tend to eat more. I want you guys to think about something. Every carbohydrate that is made in nature, like rice, apples, wheat, sugarcane, do you guys realize that all of that comes wrapped in fiber? What does the food industry do? They strip the fiber out of our food. You guys realize that you and I would never eat as much rice as we eat today if it still had the brand? Let me show you this picture, okay? And I know some of you on here are not able to see this, but if you understand food, okay, if you go and look at pictures of wild rice has a kind of a black brownish substance that wraps around the fiber. That is called the bran, right? It is the fiber that surrounds the rice. But what happens is our food industry literally strips the bran or the fiber, and we are left with white rice. This is why manufacturers will take wheat and they will strip the fiber, and we are left with white flour. By the way, it is one of the worst things that we can eat. It blows up our blood sugar like a roller coaster. Now look at the apple, right? How many apples do you think you could eat before you feel full, right? When you're eating an apple that has fiber, okay, it helps you to feel satiated. It fills you up, right? If we're eating foods that don't have any fiber in it, we tend to eat far more. But if you have a glass of apple juice, right, that takes maybe 3, 4, 5 apples to make half a glass of apple juice. And essentially what you're doing is drinking sugar water. That's basically what it is. And I have somebody that says that fiber is a conspiracy theory. I have no idea why somebody would say fiber is essential, right? And you can get fiber from the foods that we eat, like salads, green leafy vegetables. We can get it through broccoli and beans and flax and chia seeds, avocados, artichokes, right? Those types of things. But we're not eating as much fiber as we need. Okay. I love it when people come on and tell me that I'm lying, but goodbye. Folks, it actually, when fiber is used correctly and gradually, it actually heals the gut. And some people say, I have tried everything. Most people have never actually addressed insulin resistance, which happens to be the root cause of our health issues. Some people say, I do not want supplements. And this is not about supplements. This is about supporting biology with a system that actually works. Can I ask an honest question? How many of you are on medications? If you're on meds, would you type the word MED and put that in the chat? How many of you are on medications? You don't have to tell me how many. I'm just curious as to how many people that are generally watching this live right now that happen to be on a med. Okay, I'm seeing quite a few come through. Now, let me ask you this, and be honest. Do you think the medicines are helping to fix the root cause? Or do you think it's just managing your symptoms? What do you think? Are they helping to fix the root cause? Or are they managing the symptoms? Folks, look around you. I could walk outside and I can throw a pebble down the street and I am going to find 10 individuals that have insulin resistance. Folks, everybody thinks that when we mention the word insulin resistance, everybody just thinks diabetes. Do you guys realize that diabetes is just a symptom of insulin resistance? Just like neuropathy is a symptom of insulin resistance. Diabetes and heart disease and PCOS, they're all caused by the exact same thing, elevated amounts of insulin. Think about this. Too much sugar in the brain of a child leads to ADHD. Too much sugar in the brain of an adult leads to Alzheimer's and dementia. Too much sugar in your teeth, cavities, in your eyes, retinopathy, in your joints, arthritis, in your cardiovascular system, right? High blood pressure, right? Atherosclerosis. How many of you know somebody with fatty liver disease? Did you know that before 1980, the people that happened to have fatty liver were people who drank alcohol? And now they call it non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And we have 3-year-olds that are being diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Are you kidding me? And far too often, all we are doing is throwing medications at our symptoms. Medications do not fix the root cause, folks. When I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease, and my nephrologist said, Troy, you need to lose some weight. Guess what my doctor gave me? A GLP-1 injection, Ozempic. It made me sick. Folks, I didn't even know what insulin resistance was, and I used to be a pharmaceutical rep. I used to go into the Mayo Clinic and hospitals. I used to meet with patients, bring them oxygen and medications, right? It's crazy to think that insulin resistance affects 93% of the people in the United States. This is a global pandemic. It's not something that just affects people here. It affects people everywhere. And yet we never talk about it. How many of you have ever noticed that just about every other commercial that you watch on TV is promoting some medication? You never see a commercial that's talking to you about fasting or fiber or movement. And the reason is because there's no money in it. Doctors test what they can medicate. Folks, if you are sick and tired of guessing, if you are sick and tired of one medication after another, let me give you buying permission. You do not have to commit to using this forever at all. You don't have to be perfect. Okay? You're not locking yourself into some lifetime decision. You are simply saying that I am willing to try something different for my health. I was talking to somebody earlier today, this morning, her and her husband, they're like, we want to be around for our with our grandkids. You are simply saying that I'm willing to try something different and natural and safe that can help me to improve my health. Most people, and by the way, this is what it would look like every single day. You get 2 of the teas, you sip one in the morning, sip one after lunch, and you take the fiber just before your biggest meal of the day, whether that's lunch or dinner. And that's it. That's the system. Most people, and it's about $5.10 a day. Most people spend more money on coffee, on fast food, on sugary drinks, and certainly on medications that only treat the symptoms. This is an investment in fixing the root cause. And the best part about this, folks, if you didn't know this already, the best part about this is it comes with a 90-day, 100% money back guarantee. If you use this and you just don't like it, cancel. Don't reorder. You literally get your money back. And if you're watching this live, this matters because TikTok, right? I love that we can have this on TikTok Shop now. It's incredible. Folks, free shipping. It comes with a 25% discount. It's under $200. This is life changing for so many people. I have seen more people reverse type 2 diabetes. I have seen more people, we had a guy on a call today, earlier tonight, who had a foot ulcer. I can't talk tonight. He had a foot ulcer, and I wish that I had the picture. I don't have it on here. He spent $180,000 for treatment to try and improve his foot ulcer. He was in a chamber of, and I can't remember what the name of the chamber was, but it hardly even affected. It hardly even healed. It didn't even heal. It didn't even make really any changes. And it wasn't until he got on the system, the Feel Great system, that it healed within 2 months. Not only that, his doctor can feel a pulse in his foot again. One of my partners, who happens to be in Canada, she had an amazing testimonial of a customer that she shared it with. He's been on it for 2 weeks. He's lost 8 pounds. He can actually bend his toe. He wasn't able to be able to do that. He can walk without feeling pain. Folks, this is why I share this. Let me future pace you for a moment. Imagine waking up with steady energy. Imagine eating whatever you want without crashing. Imagine not thinking about food all day, because I know some of you do, right? You're a foodie like me. Imagine seeing your numbers improve instead of getting worse. Imagine feeling like what it would be to be in control of your health again. That is what metabolic health gives you. And this is why I teach the Feel Great system. I use it. If you've ever seen me drive my vehicle, my face is on my vehicle. I talk about this. I live it. I breathe it. It has changed so many people's lives. I have hundreds probably at this point, thousands of text messages from people literally all over the world who are using this system, who have improved their health and have gotten off their medications. There's nothing more rewarding than getting a text message from somebody and they're telling you you just saved their life. Let me speak directly to the person who is listening right now and feels very discouraged, right? The person who feels like their body has betrayed them. Maybe the person that's listening that has tried every single diet after diet after diet and doesn't work. Some of you have probably spent thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars on different supplements that ultimately didn't work. You're not broken, right? If anything, your body has actually been protecting you based on the signals that it has been receiving. When you change the signals, your body responds fast. See, health is not about perfection, right? It's not about being perfect. It's about direction. Which direction are you going? Are you getting better, or do you feel like you're just managing your symptoms? Today can be day one. And if you're just joining and trying to figure out what I'm talking about, we are talking about insulin resistance and how to fix the root cause instead of chasing the symptoms. Think about this. What if instead of chasing the symptoms, we tackled the one thing that's causing them all? That would make the most sense. But we are not doing that in our healthcare system. In fact, we are doing the quite opposite. Folks, drop your questions in the chat. Blood sugar, diabetes, weight loss, heart health, fasting, fiber, the Feel Great system. Okay, I'm here to answer all of them live. And as I answer questions, if you're ready to take action, the Feel Great system is linked right here. And if you need the discount code, I'm happy to put that in the chat. In fact, I'm actually gonna put that in the chat. Okay. This is the promo code. It's all capital letters. Okay. But when you're checking out, this is what you want to put in there. And you're going to get, okay. Oops, why did not? Oops, I didn't want to do that. How do you, well, I'm trying to pin this comment, but apparently it's not helping. Okay. I apologize. I wanted to pin this comment so that you guys can have it, but that, you know, folks, I am living proof that you can fix and you can improve your health without the need for meds or diets or feeling like you have to be, you know, going to the gym twice a day. You know, I wish that I knew this information 20 years ago. You know, my dad passed away from something that could have been prevented. But you don't know what you don't know, and nothing changes if nothing changes. Okay? And let me start with a bold statement in regards to cardiovascular disease. Okay? Heart disease is not caused by cholesterol alone. Okay? It is driven by metabolic dysfunction and insulin resistance, which affects 93% of us. You know, someone just said that sounds crazy. I had somebody tell me that the other day too. It was crazy. But I want you to understand something, that insulin resistance damages your blood vessels. High insulin creates inflammation in the body. And what it does is it raises your triglycerides. It lowers your productive cholesterol. It's your HDL, right? We want to increase it, not lower it. It makes LDL particles small and dense. And what happens is it accelerates the plaque buildup on your arteries. Again, this is one of the reasons why insulin resistance happens to be one of the strongest predictors of heart attacks and strokes. We've often been told that salt is the cause of our high blood pressure. It's not just about salt. Number one, it's not salt that's causing it. It's insulin, it's stress, it's sugar. And what happens is chronically high insulin is telling the kidneys to retain sodium. And what happens is it stiffens your arteries, right? It increases the sympathetic nervous system activity. And this is one of the reasons why blood pressure often improves when your insulin resistance improves. Remember, when insulin comes down, everything changes. Everything starts to get better. And if you're just joining, welcome. Okay, we're talking about cardiovascular disease and the real root cause of it. Right? Now, let me explain why cholesterol alone is a poor predictor. Because many people with heart attacks actually have normal cholesterol. Many people with high cholesterol never have heart disease. The difference is metabolic health. Okay, inflammation, insulin resistance, and endothelial dysfunction damages the arteries from the inside out. And believe it or not, but cholesterol is part of the repair process, not the original cause. Fat Pat, thank you. I love your handle, by the way. Let me know if you have any questions. So what actually improves heart health? Okay, what actually improves heart health? Lowering insulin, reducing inflammation, improving vascular function, stabilizing your blood sugar, getting that under control, right? This is why lifestyle interventions that target insulin resistance have such a profound effect on your cardiovascular health. Now, someone asks what actually works, and the same principles apply, right? Number one, stop eating all day long so that your insulin can come down, right? Most of us were taught to eat 3 meals a day and to snack 2 to 3 times a day. We don't need to eat that many times. So stop eating all day, give your insulin a chance to come down. The other thing is use fiber to reduce glucose spikes and inflammation that happens in your body. Fiber is key. Remember, we're getting less than half, right? Support metabolic health so that your fat burning switch is turned back on. Your body can lose weight naturally. You can get rid of the visceral fat, the protruding belly, the love handles, right? That excess belly FAT that you don't want, right? This is exactly why I use the Feel Great system and why I teach it, because it's a powerful tool for heart health and metabolic health, right? Overall metabolic health. And what I love about this tea, right? This chlorogenic tea, okay, is this metabolic tea supports fat burning and insulin sensitivity. Remember, this system helps to detox your liver. It improves insulin sensitivity. It nourishes your microbiome, which is where 80% of your immune system is. The fiber blend protects your blood vessels. It reduces your glucose spikes. It improves your lipid markers. And what's crazy is that people often see improvements in their blood pressure, their triglycerides, HDL goes up, cholesterol inflammation markers come back down, right? And if you're watching live, the Feel Great system is linked right here in the TikTok shop. And feel free to ask questions, right? Feel free, if you can't see it, let me know and I'm happy to get it to you. Let me speak to the person who is worried about their heart. Heart disease does not start with a heart attack. It starts with years of metabolic damage. And the earlier that you address insulin resistance, the more that you actually protect your future. And Fat Pat, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. If this is resonating, tap the screen, share this live with somebody that you love and care about. And if you are ready to support your heart at the root level, click the Feel Great system here. Guys, you can try this for 90 days. I'm not trying to convince you to buy this, okay? If you don't want it, don't get it, okay? If it resonates with you and if it sounds like what you might have been praying for and looking for, And if you're ready to get started, actually start improving your health, most of you think that you've got to rely on your medications. Medications don't fix the root cause, but if you are ready to support your health at the root cause, don't wait. You don't have to wait to fix your health. You know, diabetes, it's crazy to think that 54% of our country is metabolically has diabetes or type 2 diabetes. And tonight I'm talking about diabetes in a way that you've never heard it explained before. Because this conversation that we're having right now could save someone years of damage or even their life. Somebody asked a question, okay? How Big Daddy, that's a really good question. What I would encourage you to do is go look up the side effects, right? My doctor had given this to me. You know what's interesting is that Ozempic actually comes with a black box label. And the reason why it comes with a black box warning label is because it can be fatal. It causes gastroparalysis. It causes the C word that I'm not allowed to say on here that we celebrate in September. It causes tumors. It causes major serious health issues. And let me ask you a simple question. Who here has diabetes, prediabetes, high blood sugar, insulin resistance, or has ever been told that you are heading in that direction? Type yes in the chat if that is you or someone you love. Casey, how are you doing, brother? And here's the thing. Here's the first thing that you need to hear. Type 2 diabetes is not a blood sugar disease. It is an insulin disease. Okay, blood sugar is the smoke. Insulin resistance is the fire. Most people spend their life literally chasing the smoke while the fire continues to burn out of control inside your body. Maybe you've never heard of insulin resistance that way, but think of it like a fire that's burning out of control in your body, right? All of these symptoms that we have, skin issues, blood pressure, cholesterol, neuropathy, migraines, PCOS, erectile dysfunction, kidney disease, heart disease, gout, GERD, vertigo, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, all of that. You guys realize that I just named off a bunch of symptoms, and they're all caused by insulin resistance. Those symptoms are the smoke to the fire. And far too often, all we are doing is just throwing medications at our symptoms, right? All you're doing is taking your water hose and you're just spraying the smoke, hoping that it's going to help the fire go out. Guys, it's like having a leak in your ceiling and you're putting a bucket to catch the water, but you never get on the roof and fix the roof, right? Insulin is a hormone. And what happens is its job is to move sugar from your bloodstream into your cells so that we can use it for fuel or for energy, right? This is the energy that powers your brain, your organs. And every time you and I eat foods, right, it spikes our blood sugar and it spikes our insulin. This is normal, right? This is normal. You eat, it spikes your blood sugar, insulin's released to bring this back down. The problem is insulin is never coming down because we eat all day. Seriously, how many of you, I mean, look at this, folks. I can't make this up. This is called the standard American diet, right? How many of us are eating the moment you wake up? We were told to have 3 meals a day, snack 2 to 3 times throughout the day, and most of us do that. And I'm a foodie. I love foodie. I can eat with the best of them. But the problem is, in this advice that a lot of you were given, that's like, oh, you need to eat 5 small meals. It keeps your metabolism high. Do you guys realize that all you're doing is keeping your insulin high? Who cares about your metabolism? Your insulin's up here. We constantly snack. We drink sugar. We sleep poorly. We live stressed out lives, right? And over time, what happens is that your cells literally stop responding to insulin. Insulin's knocking at the door, right? It's knocking at the door, but nobody's listening. And when insulin stops working, your body starts making more and more and more insulin just to move the same amount of glucose. And when insulin stays high, the fat burning switch is turned off, sugar stays trapped in the blood, the pancreas gets overworked, your blood sugar rises, and eventually doctors call it diabetes after 10 or 20 years of dealing with this. You know, somebody asked me earlier this morning, you know, they're doing everything right and their blood sugar is still high. And this is why. You cannot fix insulin resistance by only lowering your sugar intake. You've got to lower your insulin, which is why I teach fasting and fiber. And by the way, these are two things that don't cost you anything. These are free. Folks, this is just a tool if you're wanting something that actually works. If you are sitting here thinking about, should I buy this or not? Just do it. Folks, it's like $5.10 for the system. You can get it right here in the TikTok shop. It comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. Folks, if it doesn't work, I will personally jump on a phone call with you and help you get your money back. This is not about me trying to get a sale. I could care less. I want you to know that there's something that exists. We have a solution to the biggest problem in the world. And most people don't even know that it exists. Most doctors don't even know that this exists, even though it's listed in the same physician's desk reference that they prescribe from. And here's what happens, right? Here's what most people are never told. High insulin keeps your body in storage mode, right? It locks fat in. And this is what creates the cravings. It's what causes your energy to crash. It's what damages your blood vessels. It's what drives inflammation. It destroys metabolic flexibility. And this is one of the reasons why many people feel exhausted and defeated all the time. And I know some of you are like, man, I'm doing everything right. And I still, I still feel like I'm taking 2 steps backwards. And you're not alone. I was there too. I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease. And this is the only thing that I used to reverse stage 4 kidney disease. The first month and a half of using this, I lost 32 pounds. My migraine headaches of 23 years. This stemmed from a bicycle accident in Omaha, Nebraska. It went away in the first week. Brain fog, gone. Acid reflux, gone. Anxiety, depression, sleep apnea, all of these things improved. And by the way, 5 months after being on this, my nephrologist said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. If there's anything that you get from this live tonight, here's the good news. Insulin resistance is reversible. When your insulin comes down, blood sugar follows. When insulin sensitivity improves, the body starts to heal, right? If your cells are healthy, you are healthy. If your cells are sick, you are sick. And second, use fiber, right? I love this fiber. I don't go anywhere without this. Yes, you can get it from foods, but I mean, how often are you eating broccoli and beans and flax and chia seeds, avocados or artichokes, right? Fiber slows the glucose absorption in your blood. It reduces or eliminates the insulin spikes. And it feeds the healthy gut bacteria, right? Which is what we need. It helps to improve insulin sensitivity. It nourishes your microbiome, which is where 80% of your immune system is. It's protective. It's not harmful. And third, you support metabolic flexibility, right? So that your body can burn fat instead of sugar all day long. That's why I teach this, because it works. Folks, we have thousands of people literally all over the world, right? This is a friend of mine. Okay, let me pull this up. And I wanted to show you this. I really appreciated Casey sharing this with me, but these are some fasting times, right? I think this is kind of a great cheat sheet of what fasting can do for you, right? If you're new to fasting, start out with 12 to 13 hours, okay? And increase it to 16 to 18 hours, right? There's something magical called autophagy that begins in your body at around 17 hours, but is really at full force around 24. And if you don't know what autophagy is, if you've ever bought a house and if you've ever remodeled it or gutted it or renovated it, that's exactly what you're doing to your body. You're literally getting rid of old, dead, tired, unhealthy cells. And your body uses those dead cells for fuel. This is powerful, right? Everybody thinks that we need to eat all the time. No, you don't, right? You've got protein, fats, carbohydrates, right? Your body actually needs protein. We need fats, but your body can literally start converting your stored fat into ketones, and your body will literally use that for fuel. This is exactly why the Feel Great system works, because it does exactly that. You know, this is my buddy right here. Let me put his picture in here, right? He reversed non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. He had type 2 diabetes, not anymore. He had his thyroid removed 11 years ago. He's off of 8 medications. He's down 88 pounds. His erectile dysfunction, depression, acid reflux, all of that's gone. This is a customer, okay? Claudia, she was a type 2 diabetic for 23 years taking metformin. Guys, she's 70, I think she's 75 years old now. Her A1C went from 10 to 5. She's completely off her meds. This is Blenda. She was a truck driver, right? I mean, you just look at the side by side, the difference. She's a completely new person. She's lost over 100 pounds. They were going to force her to retire because she wasn't going to pass the DOT, which is the Department of Transportation test, right? She was a truck driver. She had PCOS, anxiety. I mean, she was a wreck. And she's completely turned her whole health around. I mean, that's incredible in and of itself, right? Look at this. She's off her meds for lupus. She had rheumatoid arthritis. She was diabetic. She's lost weight. There's hundreds, if not thousands, right? Look at this. This is incredible. In 66 days, decreased insulin by 64%. Completely off of blood pressure meds after 47 plus years of high blood pressure. Their A1C's down. You can't make this up, right? This is kind of the will of torture right here. And here's our competition. Let me share this with you. Okay, look at this. How incredible is this? A1C went from 11.3 to 5.8. His IBS, gout, vertigo gone, depression's lifted. His blood work's normal range, 6 months. Type 2 diabetes gone, 81.5 pounds gone. His doctor prescribed him metformin, but he decided to do this instead. And look at the competition. And this isn't really even the competition. There's over 1 billion people on a statin. This is a natural statin, does the same thing. There's 0 side effects. This is a natural metformin. This is a natural Ozempic. It does the exact same thing. Folks, these are just as effective and often works better than the medications that are often prescribed. Look at this. The Feel Great system has more than 24 clinical studies. It is HSA and FSA qualified. By the way, it is in 66 countries now. It's guaranteed to work. Folks, you can't get better than that. You don't have to wait to fix your health. And I've got just a couple more minutes and I'm hopping off. But folks, if this resonates with you, if you would like to get started, folks, don't wait. Nurse Kelly, thank you so much for the follow. I am living proof that you can reverse stage 4 kidney disease, because I did. My migraines of 23 years are gone. I'm sleeping better than I ever have. I love what this has done for me. And this is why I get on here, because everybody has a right. Everybody needs to know. This needs to be in every household. And the reality is that we are not talking about fixing the root cause. When we go to a doctor, they're often diagnosing and treating the symptoms. How is that working out for you? You know, I asked the question earlier, do you feel like the medications are helping to manage the symptoms or fix the root cause? And I got a bunch of no's. It's not fixing the root cause. Why would they fix it? Folks, if a doctor's livelihood is ensuring that you come to see the doctor and you're on meds, that's how they make the money, why would they ever help you to get off of those things? In my opinion, I think they keep us healthy enough to need a refill on a prescription. But if you're looking to change that, you don't have to wait. Folks, if any one of you has any questions, or if you want to connect, I'm happy to do that. You don't have to wait. I see a lot of people that are clicking on this, and folks, what questions do you might have that I can help address? And if you don't have this, let me put this, you shouldn't need this promo code, but let me put this in here anyways, just in case. Folks, I really appreciate each and every one of you for hopping on this live tonight. Nathan, trucker, he's ignoring our questions. Nathan, I'm not sure what your question is, okay? Fat Pat, what about AFib, just got ablation, about 50 pounds overweight. I wish that you could have been on our call earlier tonight, because, you know, a gentleman who had the foot ulcer that spent $180,000 to try and fix it, and it almost killed him. And actually, he was dead for about a minute. Used a system that cost $5 a day to actually fix it and reverse it. And he had AFib. And he's improved his health in ways that doctors can't even they can't even describe. His doctors are absolutely blown away at how fast and how well his health has improved. His numbers are normal. He's in no risk. My kidney function is normal. So I don't know what the question was. Somebody made a comment to Nathan that, or trucker, he's ignoring our questions. I might not have seen your question. And sometimes, you know, when I'm sharing this, you know, that can happen. But when you order the Feel Great system, it comes with 60 teas, right? There's 2 boxes of the tea and 1 box of the fiber. Okay, there's 30 fiber, there's 60 teas. Any testimonies on hyperthyroidism? And yes, in fact, I don't know if Casey's on. And if Casey, if you want to hop on, let me see if he's on. Would love to have him kind of share his experience. I don't know if he's doing his own thing, but let me see if he's on, and if he would like to, let's see if he's on. I don't see that he's on, but you know, if he was, I was going to try and see. Let me get rid of this picture for a second. This picture kind of messes me up sometimes. Okay, let me see here. Okay, we're all customers. Nard, how many pouch? Trucker. Any testimonies on hyperthyroidism? Any recommendations for? So this is a system, by the way, that absolutely works. And let me see if I can invite. Is he on? Let me see. So I just invited Casey to come on, hyperthyroidism. So Nathan, let me see. Casey, how are you doing, brother?
Good. Hey, I'm good.
Somebody had a question in hyperthyroidism, and I feel like I remember you talking, or is somebody else that talked about that?
Yeah, there's hyperthyroidism is too much of the thyroid hormone. We have seen a lot of help even with that because we are balancing the hormones. When insulin is high, it's a disruptor of all the other hormones in the body. Hypothyroidism, directly root caused by insulin resistance. And so, yeah, if you're dealing with hypothyroidism, if you're dealing with any type of hormonal imbalance, insulin affects all the hormones inside of the body. And so, Nathan, are you currently dealing with hyperthyroidism yourself? Is that you, or is that somebody that you know?
How are you doing, Casey?
I'm good. I just dealt with a TikTok restriction, but I'm doing good.
Nathan said, yes, that's myself.
So Nathan, using this protocol that Troy's talking about for 90 days to see how it influences your situation with your thyroid hormone isn't going to be any loss to at least give it a try for 90 days. Even in the first 30, 60 days of using this, you're going to be feeling better and seeing the impact that it's helping in regards to your chronic situations. If you're dealing with hyperthyroidism, I probably would assume that you're probably dealing with a few other issues as well.
Thank you for sharing that. How's your your wife's brother doing?
He's doing good. He pulled through. Worst case scenario, having a doctor midway through surgery say that he doesn't think he's going to make it.
Wow. Nathan says, I've had it for many years and spent thousands on supplements and still no solution. Nathan, we get that all the time. And this is why I love the system, because I don't know about any other supplements, but I've never come across something that works as well as this does. But you can try it, and if it doesn't work, you literally get your money back. You're literally losing nothing. So I always tell people, hey, at least give yourself 90 days, because you have to understand something. Sometimes it takes 10 to 20 years before insulin resistance even leads to some of these major issues like diabetes. And so giving yourself 30 to 90 days, you're giving yourself at least a good look at what this potentially can do for your body. So that's what I would encourage you. And obviously, I'm not here to convince you, but if you're looking for a solution, we happen to be the only company in the world that has these, they're considered nutraceuticals, the Feel Great system, that is listed in the same PDR that doctors prescribe from. So it's an absolute game changer. It has changed my life. It has, if I showed you how many text messages I've gotten from people that have changed their life, I know Casey's the same. Like, you wouldn't believe it if we told you, right? And I would never share something, number one, that I'm not using. If my dad was still here, I would want my dad on this. I want every single person that I personally know to be on this, even if people don't feel like they have these health issues. And that's why it's so important to get on it, because insulin resistance is silent. Sometimes we don't even know that we have it until we're sitting across from the doctor and he or she's blindsiding us with a disease that we didn't know we had. And now we're panicking, right? And this is something that completely is an absolute game changer for that.
What's up, Fat Pat?
How late can you eat before bedtime? I would encourage everybody to stop eating probably 4 hours before you go to bed. 3 to 4 hours. There's some people that will literally eat a bag of potato chips and go to bed, and then they wonder why they can't sleep through the night.
Hey, Nathan, I want to read you something, Nathan. Nathan, there's like 100 different. How many ingredients are in this? I mean, with all the vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids, there's 7 different types of insoluble fibers in this tea. So if you're looking at a breakdown of everything, you've got quite a few ingredients. But Nathan, and it's all plant based too. It's all plant based. But Nathan, here's something interesting for you to hear. Hypothyroidism contributes to insulin resistance, primarily through effects on glucose metabolism. There's a reason why people get on this protocol, and we talk about hyperglycemia and we talk about hypertension. And people with hypoglycemia reverse their hypoglycemia and their hypotension, because this is correcting the root cause of what dysfunction is taking place at the cellular level. So, I mean, I've had people that I've helped who have had hypoglycemia get on this protocol, and they're back up into the 90s. They are stabilizing the other extreme end of the balance as to what the majority of people are usually dealing with. And so thyroid hormones stimulate gluconeogenesis, higher blood glucose levels in the fasted state. And here we got the overall increase in metabolic rate raises the glucose absorption and insulin clearance, requiring more insulin to maintain balance. So I just did a quick search on Grok here just to look even further regarding the hyperthyroidism and the correlation with insulin resistance. And this protocol is what reverses insulin resistance, which is the root cause of almost every single chronic disease situation. Even Parkinson's, they're finding huge correlations with insulin resistance and Parkinson's, which is one of the very few that are not being driven by insulin resistance. So they do work synergistically together too. Yeah. So Nathan, you're in good hands with this. If you use it correctly and you'll just follow the instructions, use it correctly and use it every day, things will just gradually get better and better as you correct the cellular dysfunction taking place in your body. Insulin affects all the hormones inside of your body. Oh. When the insulin is too high, your hormones are going to be either overreacting or underreacting. Once you get those balanced out, that insulin balanced out with the glucose, the other hormones can balance out in the body too.
Fat Pat says hi.
Fat Pat's awesome.
I like the handle. Well, I appreciate you, Casey, man. And Tanya, thank you for your comment. Yeah.
Yeah, you bet. I'll jump off now and let you get back to it, brother.
Well, I'm just about to finish, but I appreciate you, brother.
Have a good night, you guys.
You too. I love that. So, Fat Pat says shucks. Well, Nathan, I hope that answered your question. And you know, and let me know if you have any other questions in regards to that. I've got just about another minute or two. Is there any questions that anybody else has before I hop off? And if there's anybody that's trying to place an order that might be a little confused on how to fix this, just let me know. Any autoimmune diseases do lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's, Crohn's disease, right? Gut dysbiosis or liver dysfunction. I mean, autoimmune issues are caused by insulin resistance. And so when you get your insulin under control, literally everything changes that's affected by that. And so the hormones start to balance out, the blood pressure, the cholesterol, blood sugar levels, all of these things start to balance itself out when you fix the insulin, right? Most often we're just treating symptoms and not actually trying to fix the root cause. And so this is what this is addressing, is actually fixing the root cause. So I hope that helps to answer the question in regards to that. Like I said, I always encourage everybody to use this, try it. You know, it comes with a 90-day money back guarantee. So there's zero risk, especially if you've been in the situation, Nathan, where you've tried so many things and they didn't work. I get it. Nathan, I had stage 4 kidney disease and I used this system. When I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease, 7 years after donating a kidney to my brother-in-law, my doctor had given me medications that didn't work. It actually made things worse. And so it wasn't until I learned about the system 2.5 years after being diagnosed that things started to change. Okay. And I've been on the system since January of 2024. It has literally changed my life. I get it. No, this will actually help to detox your liver. It helps to heal your kidneys, your gut. It's an absolute game changer. And like I said, Nathan, I don't. Where are you located, by the way? And what I can tell you is, this, you'll notice a difference day one in utilizing this. Kathar, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Ventura, California, love it. I'm in Mesa, Arizona, right next door to you, just outside of Phoenix. If you've ever been to Phoenix, Arizona. Jose, let me know if you have any questions. Let me just go up to the top here and see. There's so many great questions. I appreciate that. Hesseling, how are you doing? I appreciate that. So there's so many people all over the country. I love it. So here, thank you for that. I appreciate that. So here's kind of what happens, right? Earlier in the morning, probably, I don't know, somewhere around 4 to 8 a.m. What happens is that your body releases, cortisol, right? And other hormones to really help you wake up. And if your cells are insulin resistant, right, that hormone surge tells your liver to dump extra glucose into the bloodstream, right? And blood sugar spikes even though you haven't eaten, right? And this is one of the reasons why sometimes this can be high. So I want you guys to understand something, and Nathan specifically, was that Nathan's question? I can't remember. No, that was somebody else's, Fat Pats. But it's not about willpower, right? Or really that you're doing anything wrong. It's usually just a sign of an underlining insulin resistance issue, right? And so stop late night eating, right? That can help fix that. Increase soluble fiber, right? That's another key. Get better sleep, right? Try and do everything that you can that helps you to get, longer sleep. That's not just, sleeping at least 7 to 8 hours, right? Those would be the keys that I would tell you that should help to improve that, right? Stop late night eating, increasing your fiber intake, and try and reduce the stress as much as you can. And I think if you can do that, I think that will make, a really huge impact. But Nathan, was there any other questions? Anything else that I might be able to help address? And thank you again, guys, for hopping on tonight. I really do appreciate each and every one of you for spending time and getting on here. I love getting on here. I love talking about this. It has literally changed my life. And the best part about this is being able to share this and help people connect the dots to the health issues that far too many of us unfortunately have, right? And the whole goal, obviously, is to help improve metabolic health. And that's what this does. And so, Nathan, would love to work with you. By the way, when you order, you're going to get a text message from me within the first 24 hours, because I want to make sure that you guys understand, number one, how to use the system. I want you to get plugged into, the science calls that we have, so you can start to learn more about the science behind our body, why it reacts the way that it does. But most importantly, learning what you can do to improve your metabolic health. That's what this is all about. I'm not anti-doctor. I am not anti-medicine, but I think it's important for people to understand what the root cause is and why we have it, right? Ignoring the root cause is only going to create more issues. And medications are certainly not the answer to this, right? Medications, are only masking the symptoms. They're not actually fixing the root cause. And my goal is to help fix the root cause. And if I can do that, this will be an absolute game changer. Okay. Olivia, thank you for hopping in here. And guys, let me know what questions you have, right? I've got just a couple minutes, but I'll stay on and just make sure that you guys are getting it. But thank you so much.